Hi guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. I have decided to do a series of short tutorials just because right now England is on lockdown and quite a few other countries in the world are too, and I thought it would be nice to teach you some new skills. It's going to be a really simple tutorial that you can do either on your own or with your kids, and I'm hoping to do as many as possible while most of us are at home. Right, so I have got some watercolour paper here. Any watercolour paper is fine. I've also got a watercolour set here. This is a really cheap set that I have had since college. As you can tell, it's pretty used, but I actually prefer using this kind of watercolour than actual tube watercolour. I've got a sponge, so I have basically cut a scourer in half. And then I've got a paintbrush. This is just like one of those really rough ones. It doesn't matter if it's been used and if it's dried up. In fact, that's probably better because we want to get some texture. Yeah, so it's like a really rough old used brush. I've also got a kind of thinner paintbrush. What you also need is some water. Just put some water in this glass here, and then some kitchen roll. Okay, so I kind of want to go for an autumny tree. So I am going to start by doing some of the brighter colour. So I'm going to start by doing the yellows. I've got my yellow colour right at the end here, and what I'm going to do is use the sponge first. So I'm kind of going to rip a bit off actually. We've got a little bit there, and I'm going to dip it in the water. So I'm just going to dip it in the water and then dip it in the yellow and just kind of keep tapping at it until I have like some yellow on it. And then I'm going to tap some on my piece of paper just to kind of see what colour is coming out. So that looks fine. So I'm going to start with the yellow, and I can add a bit more water actually to it. We don't want it like super watery, so I can just dab some of the excess off if there's too much. I'm just going to leave space at the bottom for like the trunk of the tree. Yeah, and I think I'm just going to like make some areas darker than others. I just think it looks better. And whilst it's kind of still wet, I'm going to add some orange. So I'm just going to dip, again, the same one because it will be nice to like mix the colours up a bit, and put that in the orange here. Just dab some of the excess off on this sheet here. Just going to dab excess off. I'm just going to start to like put that in the mix. And because it's still wet, the colours are like blending quite well, which is a really nice kind of effect. And then I want to put some really nice gorgeous red in it, so I'm going to do the same thing and just dip that in the water and then get some of the red on that. I mean, it's a bit more pinky mine, to be fair. I suppose I could mix it maybe with, I think I want a bit more of the yellow in the middle. And I suppose it's just kind of mixing them together. It's kind of trying to leave some of that really light section in the middle. And I suppose we'll probably have a tiny bit of green in it. Yeah, I'm not too sure if green particularly goes in this painting, but anyway, I'll put a tiny bit in. So that's it for the sponges. And now what I'm going to do is use this paintbrush. So I'm going to let that dry. You can either hair dry it, or you can just kind of let it dry in the sun or naturally or whatever. Okay, so now it's all dry, just let it dry. I am going to use my paintbrush to make some kind of leaves, I guess. That's the look I want to go for, because right now it's a bit too 2D, I suppose. And what I'm going to do is put just a really small amount of water on the brush. I don't want much on the brush. The yellow paint. And I'm hoping that it will kind of create, yeah. So I'm just basically dotting this around the top, in the kind of colours, I'm going to change the colours as I go down. I might just put some sort of randomly coming out of the, just think it's like a nice effect. Okay, so I'm going to try maybe with a bit of orange now. Press too lightly, you can already see it's like quite dark. You know, create different texturing effects. Doesn't all have to be dotty. And then maybe just like a tiny bit of red. And any bits that aren't kind of blending, just try and blend them in at this point. Just kind of dragging the paintbrush along instead of dabbing too much. And then I might just do the thing where you sort of just get quite a lot of colour on your paintbrush. What I'm going to do now is do the trunk, and I just want to do, I fancy just having a really small trunk. So I'm going to use the thin paintbrush that I have, and I'm going to use this really dark green here. I'm just going to draw right in the middle here a really thin line, and then I just kind of want to do like a little section of where it's standing on. I suppose you can just kind of do a little thing like that, which just shows the grass, and then try and do, if you need a ruler at this point you can, try and do a kind of straightish line, and then just a little bit like that at the bottom. What I'm going to do now is wait for this section to dry, and then I'm going to add in some branches and stuff just to make it look a bit more detailed. Okay, so it's a couple of minutes later, well, a couple of minutes later, 5 minutes later, it's all dry again. So what I wanted to do is use that sort of thin brush again and get that dark green on the paintbrush and just start to draw this line upwards, but kind of, I want it to like appear as if it's coming in and out of the trees, if you know what I mean. So I'm just, when there's like lighter areas, I'm just kind of drawing it, and then sort of when it comes to here, just kind of veering off. And what I want to do is just make it look like there are branches sort of behind all the leaves that are here. And this is like just the fun part where you can just super experiment, and everyone's will look different. They're not all going to look the same. So that's it finished. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm hoping to come out with lots more whilst we're on lockdown, and hopefully you can try this out yourself and let me know how you guys get on in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back with a new tutorial soon. Thanks guys!